Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Now at 8 o'clock on Fox 50, a woman was injured during a shooting in Wake County. What we've learned from the scene, that deputies investigated for more than 7 hours. And a lightning strike set a barn on fire. We are going to get you a look at the firefighter response to this in Wake County.
And our flash flood warning just expanded to 9:45. We continue to have some rain falling in our southern counties. I'll show you how much has fallen so far and how long we may be dealing with this.
Accused of killing a Garner family in a crash is due in court today. Coming up, an update on that investigation.
A woman was seriously injured in a shooting near Wendell. This happened on Hodge Road just before 11 o'clock last night. WRAL's Nick Perlin was there and the WRAL Breaking News Tracker for that. But we first are going to start with Elizabeth Gardner because she is checking the radar that we've got for us here. It's a little calmer than it was hours ago.
Everything is starting to very slowly weaken, and so that's great news. Early this morning, we had a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain, and this was really the pocket where we saw the heaviest rain. We still have a flash flood warning in effect until 9:45. That rain still continues between Clinton and Fayetteville, just north of Roseboro, right around Salemburg, as a matter of fact. Notice the radar estimate is at 9.5 inches. That doesn't mean that we really saw 9.5 inches. It's a radar estimate. We'll be looking for some of the ground truth in that area, but easily 6 to 8 inches for sure. And then some heavy rain stretching northward all the way up to Anger, where we saw anywhere from 4 to 6 inches there through Dunn and on up towards southern Wake County. Right now, we're watching for some of that heavier rain here in Edgecombe County and the northern part of Wilson County, but that is starting to slide eastward, and it is weakening somewhat. And again, a lot of the lightning has started to fade, so that's great news. Here's a look. We have, of course, the rain moving on out of here. A big change coming right after lunchtime. We're going to see a drier, cooler, less humid air mass working its way in. Much more comfortable. It'll be noticeable, especially tonight and tomorrow. Live look at Wilson. A breezy, some of that rain beginning to taper off right here in downtown Wilson. 71 is our temperature, and the dew point continues to drop. It is 10 degrees lower than it was at 4 a.m. That's great news. Highs will be in the mid-80s for this afternoon, feeling comfortable for a couple of days. Hurricane Beryl is a category 4. We just got the 8 o'clock update. Back up to category 4 now with 130 mile per hour winds. I'll show you the next system that could develop out in the Atlantic coming up, Brett.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Let's take a look at traffic. It is 8:02 on your Monday morning. I'm Brett Neeson for Ken Smith this morning. And we do have a couple of crashes that are out there. A slowdown near I-40 westbound near the Johnson County line has started to improve here at the 8 o'clock hour. All new here at 8:02 is a disabled vehicle at Durley Road and Glenwood Avenue, US 70. Not seeing any delays on the sensors on that one at this point, but I'll keep an eye on it. Down in the Holly Springs area, NC 55 at Main Street. That's an earlier crash that has reports of an overturned vehicle. We have WRAL's Laura Levine on the way to that scene, and we'll get an update from her shortly. Let's take a look over at the south side of Raleigh, I-40 westbound as you approach US 1, a 5-minute delay at this point. We usually see traffic volume start to pick up, especially as you approach Avon Ferry Road. That's our live look right here. Not seeing any big backups that are cause for alarm at this point, but give yourself about 5 extra minutes if you're headed out to work this morning. Our wider look, that's where we take our road condition map and we see a lot of green, some ponding over in the eastern part of Wilson County and Nash County. So we're keeping an eye on that as that rain system starts to move out, Chris.
All right, thank you, Brett. A woman was seriously injured after a shooting near Wendell. This happened on Hodge Road just before 11 o'clock last night. Nick Perlin was there on the WRAL Breaking News Tracker.
Wake County deputies spent last night and early this morning investigating a shooting that happened at this home here on Hodge Road. The shooting happened at around 10:40 last night. Now, I do want to get you to some video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker to show you what this crime scene looked like at around 11 last night. You can see crime scene tape blocking off this stretch of Hodge Road, as well as dogs helping deputies gather more evidence as they try to figure out what happened last night. We know one woman was shot and taken to the hospital with serious injuries. We're still trying to learn from deputies if they know who fired that gun, and we're also trying to get an update on that woman's condition. We're going to keep working to gather more information, and we'll be sure to update you. In Wake County, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
Firefighters in Wake County say a lightning strike caused a fire that burned a barn overnight. That fire happened on NC 42 in Willow Spring. That was around 11:30 last night. You're looking at video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker after firefighters were able to put the flames out. Crews say that they saw smoke from nearly a mile away as they were headed to the scene, but thankfully, no injuries were reported. The man facing charges in a crash that killed a family of 3 on Memorial Day is expected in court for the first time today. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains, Jordan Porter was just released from the hospital on Friday, and he's facing murder charges.
We're expecting to see Jordan Porter in court for the first time later this morning. This just about a month after that crash happened. And now 3 crosses have been placed at this intersection on US 70 in Garner to honor that family who was killed. We first gave you a look at Porter's mugshot Friday when he was released from the hospital and put in custody. He's facing multiple charges, including second-degree murder and driving while impaired. Warrants show he was drinking and smoking marijuana before the crash. Porter ran a red light on US 70, hitting the Campbell family's car. Parents Tyler and Susan Campbell died at the scene. Their son Miles died later in the hospital. Porter's bond was set at $3 million. We'll be sure to keep you updated on what happens in court later this morning. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Garner.
Today, the Supreme Court is expected to release its ruling on whether President Donald Trump should get absolute immunity. This is about the charges related to the January 6th Capitol riots. Trump claims he should have absolute immunity as president. It's arguably the most anticipated and consequential case the High Court has had this term. There are also as many as 4 opinions that the court has. It's set to hand them down, including the Trump immunity case. Hurricane Beryl is expected to hit the Caribbean today as a record-breaking Category 4 storm. You're looking at video from Trinidad and Tobago. That is where people enjoyed one more day at the beach yesterday before the storm arrived. Beryl is expected to be the strongest storm the area has seen since Hurricane Ivan back in 2004. It is the earliest Category 4 hurricane on record in the Atlantic Ocean. Several DMV offices across the state are raising their fees this summer. The DMV is required to change fees and rates every 4 years. According to the DMV, about 90 license and registration related fees are expected to go up. We're talking about 19%, folks. You can find a list of the price changes on WRAL.com. And today, you'll have to start paying again to ride a Go Triangle bus. The bus service has been free for 4 years. Passengers can expect to pay $1.25 per trip. The discounted fare is 60 cents for people with disabilities or people who have Medicare. Children 12 and under and adults 65 and up can ride for free. And teenagers can ride for free, but they have to have a youth pass. President Joe Biden's family is encouraging him to stay in the race against former President Donald Trump. This comes as Biden's shaky performance in Thursday's debate. It has some Democrats calling for him to step aside. Biden's advisors tell CNN his family is giving him the unequivocal support during a get-together that happened at Camp David. A source says that the Bidens have discussed whether to fire top advisors who prepared the president for that debate. More lane closures are in place near Holly Spring as work is going to be finished on NC 540. The northbound lanes of the NC 55 bypass would be closed between Old Smithfield Road and East William Street. Now, mind you, that's between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. happening overnight. The ramps on and off NC 540 will also be closed. And once this work is finished, the southbound lanes will have overnight closures. That is expected to start tomorrow night. Firefighters in California worked through the night to try and contain the so-called Sierra fire. We have more video like this from the sky of this brush fire that has burned hundreds of acres. And we are expecting a record-setting week as people travel for Independence Day. How many people are expected to hit the roads and hit the sky during the holiday? Elizabeth?
And we have a flash flood warning for another hour and a half in some of our southern counties. I'll show you how much rain has fallen there and in other parts of the viewing area. And we will see a nice little break from the heat and humidity.
Getting you a live look this morning over at White Lake. So this is nice, right? We had a bunch of clouds earlier, but now we can see the beautiful skies there as you're watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device. Before we get to see the beauty, we had to see a little bit more of the gray sky and some of the rain there, but it's pushing out of our area, Elizabeth.
It is, it is. We'll take a look at what's happening with our 24-hour rainfall. It's been incredible down to the south, and incredible not in a good way. We've had radar estimates of up to, say, 7 to 8 to, this is showing 9.8 inches of rain. That range is coming down in the same place for hours and hours and hours. So please be very careful here in the central part of Sampson County. This is Salem Borough is the closest town there. there, but near Roseboro, Clinton, Fayetteville, all the way up through Wade, and even up toward Dunn and Lillington, we're seeing anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. So very heavy there. It's just a pocket where, we've seen that heavy rain from the Triangle area north and west. It's been very little, but we've definitely had some steady to heavy rain here up and down the I-95 corridor. A little bit of rain falling around Wendell, Raleigh, and Garner right now, but we'll head back over to the east. Elm City to Pine Tops to Rocky Mount to Tarboro is where we're having some of that heavier rainfall right now. Futurecast shows that all out of here by around 9 o'clock, and then skies begin to clear. And as we clear, we're going to see our wind shifting to northeasterly. Already we've seen a 10-degree drop in our dew point at RDU, and that is huge. So that drier air is already starting to work its way in, even before we've seen skies clearing. Check out the wind with this front, though. In Wilson, the whirligigs are really spinning. The rain has started to taper off a little bit. It was pouring there earlier. But we have winds northeast at 14. We're gusting to around 25. It is 71 degrees in the Triangle right now. You can see we're gusting to 24, 25 in Durham and Raleigh, 16 in Roxborough. We were gusting to around 25 in Rocky Mount and Wilson just a little while ago. Over the weekend, it's going to get really hot again. So for the holiday weekend, hopefully you can find a cool spot like White Lake. Hubert Hester sent us this beautiful photo. We'd love to see your photos too. Go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers, and send us what you're up to. Temperatures in the mid-80s this afternoon. So we're going to get a little bit of a break from the intense heat. Our dew point right now is down at steamy, and it'll stay fairly comfortable through Wednesday. And then we get back to tropical Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. 90 is our normal high, so we're just below that the next couple of days. But then we jump right back up to 97 for the 4th of July holiday and 100 on Friday. Thursday, Friday, maybe even into the weekend, we have a good chance of heat advisories again, and above normal temperatures continue through the holiday weekend into early next week. We'll also get into a better chance of storms again Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But after this moves out this morning, we have some lovely, comfortable weather, at least through Wednesday. Brett?
Thanks, Elizabeth. Let's take a look at traffic right now. I'm in for Ken Smith here on a Monday morning. It's 8:15, and we do have a couple of things out on the roads. We have a crash over off of, or a disabled vehicle rather, over off of Durley Road near Glenwood Avenue. Not seeing any delays in the sensors there, but we are keeping an eye on that. Are seeing some big traffic volume at this point here in the morning commute. Did have a crash over on NC 55 at Main Street. It looks like it's cleared at this point. We were sending a crew over there. We'll make sure they confirm that, and we'll keep you updated. On the southern side of Raleigh, about no delay now. Actually, it was a 5-minute delay at one point. I-40 westbound as you approached Avon Ferry Road and the US 1 interchange. It's something we sometimes see, especially early in the week. Here is our live look at I-40 at Avon Ferry Road. We're looking pretty good right now, which is good news here on the Monday morning. Taking a wider look, do have some green on the sensor or on the map itself, showing current road conditions. Anywhere you see green, that is where the roads are still wet. So if you see that on your normal commute this morning, just take it slow right now and stay safe.
Right now in the WRAL Live Center, we are following some breaking news out of Holly Springs, where South Main Street is shut down between NC 55 Bypass and Village Walk Drive because of this overturned commercial cement mixer truck. This happened just after 7 this morning. You're looking at some pictures from viewers who sent this into WRAL.com. We got some information from police. They say the cement mixer was trying to make a turn onto South Main Street when it overturned. There were no vehicles that crashed into this, but then they did say a vehicle crashed into another vehicle as they were trying to avoid this mess. The driver of the truck has minor injuries, was taken to a local hospital. And right now, heavy-duty wreckers are there on scene trying to get this cement mixer truck upright. So the road will be closed, South Main Street, until the truck can be removed and any of that debris. Charges are pending against the driver of the overturned cement mixer.
Wow. Goodness, seeing all that happen out there. Thank you, Renee. All right, look at this right here. This massive brush fire in Fontana, California. It's being called the Sierra Fire. At last check, the San Bernardino County Fire Department said the fire covered 400 acres and it's mostly contained. It says the firefighters worked overnight to try and put out these flames, but no buildings were damaged and no one was hurt. The cause of the fire has not been said just yet from investigators, but there have not also been any evacuation orders. The Justice Department plans to seek a guilty plea from Boeing over a charge related to 2 fatal plane crashes. The DOJ plans to formally offer a plea arrangement. This would include a financial penalty and a corporate monitor to audit the company's safety and compliance practices. This would be for a total of 3 years. The department says it will give Boeing until the end of the week to respond to its offer. The Justice Department found Boeing violated a 2021 agreement shielding it from prosecution over the fatal crashes involving 737 MAX jets. Boeing has declined to comment on this story. The 4th of July holiday is expected to be one of the most busy ones that we're seeing, not just in terms of people traveling, but it's supposed to be hot as well. And this is going to be a story that we're reporting here from CB Cotton.
Burgers and hot dogs may not be the only things cooking over the 4th of July weekend. Much of the country will see historically hot weather. If you are going to be outside, make sure to pack sunscreen and plenty of water. Parts of the south and west could top 100 degrees, prompting officials to consider fireworks and campfire bans due to the added wildfire risk.
What do? Hydrate, right? It's a lot. It stinks.
Records also expected to be set on the roads and in the skies. AAA projects nearly 71 million travelers will go 50 miles or more from home, and TSA expects to screen more than 32 million during the holiday weekend.
If you're going to be flying, get to the airport early, book early flights just in case there's delays and cancellations. You'll have the best chance of getting out. And if you're driving, try to drive at off-peak times because, nobody likes sitting in traffic. Now, do they?
The busiest days to travel are expected to be this Wednesday and the following Sunday, with the most traffic in the afternoon hours between 2 and 7 p.m. Thunderstorms are also a possibility from Ohio through Virginia and the Northeast, so watch out for flight delays as a result. Adding to the fray is Hurricane Beryl, currently churning in the Caribbean, which has the potential to cause disruptions in the southeast.
That was CB Cotton reporting. People in upstate New York want answers after police shot and killed a 13-year-old boy. Hundreds of people in Utica came out Sunday for a meeting hosted by the city's mayor. They say they want police accountability because of the death Friday night. Police say that they stopped Nia Moai and another boy because they fit the descriptions of armed robbery suspects. Well, police say that Moai ran away before turning and pointing a weapon at officers. Now, one officer tackled him and another shot him, but the weapon the boy was holding was actually just a BB gun. All right, I want you to look at this damage left behind after someone attacked 2 synagogues in Ontario. Toronto police say that someone on a motorcycle threw stones at the buildings Sunday morning. Investigators believe one person was responsible for both of these cases. You can see the smashed window and glass left behind, but no one was injured. Police are investigating the attacks as hate crimes, and they say there will be an increased police presence at both locations. France's far-right party is celebrating its lead after the first round of the country's elections. Supporters of the National Rally Party cheered last night as the results were announced. The win puts France on course for its first far-right government since World War II. Many French voters are frustrated about inflation and economic concerns. A runoff vote will happen July 7th. Today is the first day on the job for NC Central's new chancellor, Dr. Carrie Dixon. Dixon is a first-generation college graduate of multiple UNC institutions. The outgoing chancellor, Johnson Akinleye, had been in that role for 8 years. After a wave of shootings, a Goldsboro community activist is sharing solutions on how to improve safety in the city. At a recent meeting, Goldsboro's police chief said there are 4 areas in the city that are having challenges with violent crime. The mayor has called for a task force to address this violence. Others are pushing for more patrols. Activist Richard Taylor believes addressing those hot spots for violence will take more than just police intervention.
Going to be up to the community, the members of the community, to start engaging, policing ourselves and, interacting with those youth out here.
The police chief says despite the recent shootings, violent crime is actually down in the city overall. A warning for people in Moore County. The sheriff's office says people in the Pine Bluff area should keep an eye out for foxes. They say a fox recently bit someone near East Philadelphia Avenue, and it has not been caught. They're asking everyone to be cautious while outdoors and not to attempt to capture that fox. A truck stolen while under the care of a valet service in Raleigh. That is what happened to a man who says that he was celebrating his mother's birthday at a restaurant in North Hills.
Next thing you know, guy comes back, hey, I can't find your car.
Tonight at 6 o'clock, 5 Sight's Keely Arthur is going to investigate Royal Parking Inc. You'll hear about its F rating with the Better Business Bureau and complaints filed with the State Attorney General's office. She'll share who is at fault when a car is stolen under the custody of a valet. Last night's lightning sparked trouble for owners of a barn in Wake County. The response to a fire that caused by the storm, and the smoke that could be seen from more than a mile away. Plus, Simone Biles is officially going back to the Olympics. What she said about how the team will prove itself this year.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good Monday morning. Your time is 8:26. I am Chris Lovingood. We'll get you started with your weather forecast with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner.
We had rain overnight last night in some places. Some scattered storms, lots of lightning, and pockets of heavy rain. That is starting to slip out of the viewing area. The heaviest rain that we've seen is down here. Radar estimates of anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of rain just north of Roseboro, west of Clinton, east of Fayetteville. Flash flood warning there until 9:45. It's been breezy, too. Winds gusting right now to 32 in Goldsboro, 25 in Durham and Raleigh, and 16 in Roxborough. That's the cold front coming through. It's going to sweep the rain out. Right now it's dry in Sanford. Still some cloud cover, but those clouds will move on out. We'll have a comfortable afternoon with a high of 84 and a big drop in humidity. Brett?
Elizabeth, we're following some breaking news out on I-87 where multiple lanes are closed in both directions, all because of this brand new crash that happened near Smithfield Road. Looks like a truck is involved, and along with a semi involved right there in the median. You can see both directions. The cars coming this way are on their way to Raleigh, and the cars going that way are heading away towards the eastern side of Wake County. So some big delays, some big backups on our sensors, all because of that crash. And you can see a lot of that red right now. Working to learn exactly what caused that crash, and we'll keep you updated over on Fox 50. Wider look, there are a couple of other crashes, including one over in Holly Springs that we'll have another update over on Fox 50. Chris.
Brett, thank you. Firefighters in Wake County say a lightning strike caused a fire that burned a barn overnight. That happened on NC 42 around 11:30 last night. Investigators say smoke was seen from nearly a mile away as firefighters were headed to the scene. At last check, no one was injured. Next on Fox 50, the fees that you have to pay at the DMV are increasing starting today. We'll tell you about how much more you're going to be paying. And up next on Today, One-on-One with Dwayne Wade.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Now at 8:30, a woman was hurt after a shooting in Wake County. What we have learned from the scene as deputies investigated for hours. Plus, fire crews were busy with a barn fire in Wake County. We're taking you to the firefighter response from overnight.
And we have a flash flood warning in effect for our southern counties, part of them, until 9:45. I'll show you how much rain we've seen here and other parts of the viewing area.
Thanks for joining us this morning on WRAL News on Fox 50. I am Chris Lovingood. Let's go back to Elizabeth real quick because you said we got a muggy start this morning. You can definitely feel it outside, Elizabeth.
Overnight in some places, and so lots of moisture in the atmosphere, but a cold front's going to sweep all that moisture out, and we're going to have a very pleasant feeling afternoon. But take a look at this right here, just west of Clinton, east of Fayetteville. We've had radar estimates of up to almost 10 inches of rain here in this orange shaded area. That spreads all the way up through Dunn, Benson, and Anger, where the reds and yellows are going to be anywhere from around 4 to 6 inches. So pockets of the viewing area south of the triangle really saw some heavy rain overnight. It is beginning to fizzle now, and that last little bit is trying to push east of I-95. We're not looking at adding up a whole lot more rain, but just east of Rocky Mount there across parts of Edgecombe County, we still have some steady rain falling. Again, that rain slides on out. We're going to see clearing skies. We'll see a drier air mass that works through. That means a nice drop in humidity, and we'll see plenty of sunshine. Feeling much cooler and drier for tomorrow morning and for Wednesday morning. Right now, it's a little breezy as that front is moving through. You can see cloudy skies here in Wilson, 71. The dew point is at 65, so it is dropping nicely. It was in the mid-70s in the Triangle area this morning, but we still have a ways to go to push the rest of that moisture out. Temperatures in the mid-80s for this afternoon, and of course we have Hurricane Beryl. It just jumped back to a Category 4 storm with the 8 o'clock update, so it has winds at 130 miles per hour, about to move across the Leeward Islands. As it gets farther into the Caribbean, it's back to a Category 2. There's another system behind it. We'll take a look at that one coming up. Brett?
Thanks, Elizabeth. We're following some breaking news out on I-87 at Smithfield Road. Lanes in both directions right now closed, all due to this crash that's right there in the median involving a semi and maybe one or two other cars. Just one lane is passing as you're heading towards Raleigh, and they did just clear that fire truck. Actually, you can see it's clearing right now. So all the lanes heading away from Raleigh are back open. Should help some of the congestion a little bit, but as you're coming into Raleigh from the eastern part of Wake County, some pretty big backups. Lots of red on our sensors. Let's take a wider look. We do have a couple of other crashes that are out there, including a disabled vehicle off of Glenwood Avenue. Let's go down to the Holly Springs area, where an earlier crash involving that cement truck overturned at 55 and Main Street in Holly Springs and has that road closed. We're working to get an update on exactly how much longer that road could be closed. And there's also one more serious crash to tell you about that's off of Walnut Street near Dillard Drive. Not seeing any delays on the sensors there, but we are keeping an eye on that one. And a little bit of a slowdown on I-40 westbound as you approach US 1. Chris.
Brett, thank you. A woman was seriously injured during a shooting in Wake County. You're looking at video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. This is on Hodge Road near Wendell. Wake County deputies responded just before 11 o'clock last night, and they found a woman suffering from gunshot wounds. She was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, and investigators are working to learn what led up to this shooting. But at last check, no arrests have been made. Firefighters in Wake County say that a lightning strike caused a fire that burned a barn overnight. The fire started on NC 42 in Willow Spring around 11:30 last night. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker after firefighters were able to put the flames out. Investigators say they saw smoke from nearly a mile away as firefighters were headed to the scene, and no one was injured in this case either. The man facing charges in a crash that killed a family of 3 on Memorial Day is expected in court for the first time today. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey tells us, Jordan Porter was released from the hospital just this past Friday, and he's facing murder charges.
We're expecting to see Jordan Porter in court for the first time later this morning. This just about a month after that crash happened, and now 3 crosses have been placed at this intersection on US 70 and Garner to honor that family who was killed. We first gave you a look at Porter's mugshot Friday when he was released from the hospital and put in custody. He's facing multiple charges, including second-degree murder and driving while impaired. Warrants show he was drinking and smoking marijuana before the crash. Porter ran a red light on US 70, hitting the Campbell family's car. Parents Tyler and Susan Campbell died at the scene. Their son Miles died later in the hospital. Porter's bond was set at $3 million. We'll be sure to keep you updated on what happens in court later this morning. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Garner.
The Cumberland County Sheriff is removing school resource officers and crossing guards. These are specifically in communities that have their own police departments. The contract between the Sheriff's Office and Cumberland County Schools ends today. The sheriff didn't outline the reason for the change in the service, though. However, insiders say this decision was based on employee shortages. The sheriff says that he will continue to provide SROs and crossing guards in unincorporated parts of the county. Starting today, you'll once again have to pay to ride Go Triangle buses. The bus service has been free for 4 years. Passengers can expect to pay $1.25 for one trip. The discounted fare is 60 cents for people with disabilities or people who have Medicare. Children 12 and under and adults 65 and up can ride for free. And teenagers can also ride free, but they need a youth pass. Several DMV offices across the state are raising their fees this summer. The DMV is requiring to change fees and rates every 4 years. Now, according to the DMV, about 90 license and registration related fees are expected to go up by about 19%. You can find a list of the price changes on WRAL.com. New this morning, Boeing has announced that it will buy back its fuselage maker, Spirit Aerosystems, for more than $4 billion in stock. The company says the deal will improve safety and quality control. In March, Boeing said that it was in talks to acquire the company weeks after a fuselage panel blew out midair from an Alaska Airlines flight. Spirit makes the fuselages for the 737 and other parts, including sections of Boeing's 787 Dreamliners. Today, the first nonstop flight to Mexico City will leave from RDU, where you're looking live this morning. The first Aeromexico flight between the airports happens this afternoon. This service will operate daily out of Terminal 2. The route is operated under an agreement between Aeromexico and Delta Airlines. Today is a groundbreaking that's happening for new rail projects linking Raleigh and Richmond. The new S-Line project would create a direct route between the cities. That would cut about an hour off of the travel time. Now, passenger service is expected to start by 2030. U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg will be in Raleigh for today's groundbreaking. He and Governor Roy Cooper announced a $1 billion investment in this project. That was back in December, you may remember. The groundbreaking is happening at 1 o'clock this afternoon on Durant Road. Simone Biles is on her way to the Olympics again. Get it, girl. The reigning world champion secured her spot on Team USA last night, and she had a dominating win in the all-around competition at the Olympic trials. She'll become only the 4th American woman to compete in 3 Olympic Games. After qualifying, Biles shared that she considers Paris the redemption tour for U.S. gymnastics.
Well, I think everybody probably looks at the team as, okay, they went to Tokyo and this, and this happened, and what are they going to do here in Paris? But for us, I know we're stronger than what we showed in Tokyo. So I think it has to be for us because it can't be for anybody else, because that's not why we do it. We do it for ourselves and the love for the sport and the love for representing the U.S.
Suni Lee, Jordan Childs, Jade Carey, and Hesley Rivera will join her on the U.S. women's gymnastics team. That'll happen, of course, in Paris later this month. Today, the State Health Department is launching a new program to help people with complex health needs. This is also meant to help people who need long-term rehabilitation and care, too. More than 210,000 people will be eligible. This plan will help people with serious mental illness, severe substance use disorders, traumatic brain injuries, and intellectual and developmental disabilities. They'll be offered through the state's medical health care plan, the Medicaid plan, that is. Flash flooding is forcing people from their homes in New Mexico, and the same areas have been dealing with wildfires, too. We'll explain why that's making things a whole lot messier. Plus, Will Smith is back making music. We have a look at his debut of You Can Make It at last night's BET Awards. Let's get you a live look right now at Wilmington this morning. Well, the storms are gone for now, but meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will tell us when the heat returns this week. I pinky promise this is a live look at Rocky Mount Mills this morning. It's just a little difficult to see there. See that rain on the lens there? Yeah, that's because of what we've been seeing this morning. But thankfully, things are calming down just a bit. I gave you a better picture Elizabeth has right behind you to show you what's going on.
Yeah, that definitely tells a good story, though. You see all that water on the camera lens. It's been really interesting this morning. We've had a flash flood warning in effect for the last several hours. It expires at 9:45. This is a radar estimate, so it's not ground truth, but something close to this is probably what has actually fallen. Probably maybe 6 to 8 inches. It's reporting almost 10 inches there. That's going to be closest to the town of Stedman, but in between Fayetteville and Clinton right there across parts of Sampson and Cumberland County. That heavy rain band stretches all the way up toward Wake County. Wade, Dunn, Lillington, all seeing as much as 4 to 6 inches of rain there. But it was just a small pocket. We didn't see as much rain across other parts of the viewing area, especially from the Triangle area northward and westward. We continue to see some steady to heavy rain there across parts of the eastern part of the viewing area, and a couple of isolated showers showing up here around Wake County this morning. East of Rocky Mount here around Tarboro, east of Pine Tops, some showers still continue, but very slowly that is pushing out of our viewing area and will make way for some sunshine. Keep looking around at the cameras. I don't see a lot of sun just yet, but by lunchtime, we should see some nice sunshine breaking out. A dry air mass starts to work its way in from the north, and you're going to notice the humidity change. We've already started to see it drop pretty significantly at RDU. Mid-80s for highs this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms just this morning. We won't see any more of those later this afternoon. I just dropped this to steamy, and look at that. It dropped one more. I have to move that manually. So pushing it down to tolerable. Very excited about that. We may drop into comfy zone later on today and tomorrow, but we're right back to tropical Thursday and Friday. Friday's a decent chance that we would see another heat advisory with 100 degrees for the high and a heat index most likely feeling like 105. And Thursday is going to be pretty hot too at 97. Our normal high is 90, so we're below that today and tomorrow. And the overnight lows are going to feel great too. That 97 for 4th of July, definitely on the list of hottest ever 4th of July. 101 in 2012, 99 we saw 4 times, and 97 is going to come right there at about 4 4th place. So not something that we really want to see. We continue with above normal temperatures past 4th of July and into early next week. Let's talk about some nicer things. How about that? 62 tomorrow morning, 65 Wednesday morning. That will feel nice and refreshing. We are back to some scattered thunderstorms Friday, Saturday, and Sunday after the 4th of July. Brett.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Let's take a look at traffic right now. We are following a couple of big crashes out there. Breaking news on NC 55 at Main Street. It's a serious crash involving an overturned cement truck. WRAL's Laura Levine is out there right now. And Laura, what are we seeing right there? We know the road was closed.
Hey, Brett, yes, we are seeing some huge traffic impacts. I can tell you we were sitting in traffic for quite a while before arriving here to the scene. Behind me, though, you can see, to be frank, it is a mess with this truck overturned. You can even see some of the material coming from the cement trunk spilling onto the highway here. This is at the intersection of South Main Street and Highway 55. Several officers here on the scene blocking the road. We have a tow truck that just arrived within the past 10 minutes. But as you can see, crews working to figure out how to safely navigate this situation at this time. We are seeing traffic moving, but it's at a slow and steady pace within this area. Drivers are advised to avoid this area as crews are continuing to work to clean up this mess. It appears that this is a single vehicle crash, not seeing any other vehicles involved in this. So right now we are working to learn from law enforcement at this time on what exactly happened here, Brett.
I know you'll stay on top of that. Thank you, Laura. Let's take a look at another serious crash that's out on I-87 at Smithfield Road. It's shut down multiple lanes on I-87. You can see all the cars there in the median, a couple of ambulances there, including state troopers and fire trucks. At least a couple of lanes are blocked on 87 southbound as you head into Raleigh. We're going to keep an eye on that one and let you know when that starts to clear up. But you can see plenty of red, lots of backups there over in the Knightdale area. A wider look at the rest of the triangle, the Beltline looking good, and south of Raleigh on I-40 westbound looking good. And then over in Durham, the Durham Freeway northbound, a little bit of a slowdown right now, but nothing too bad right now. Chris?
Brett, thank you. President Donald Trump's former advisor, Steve Bannon, is expected to report to a prison in Connecticut today. He is slated to turn himself in at a low-security federal prison. He asked the Supreme Court to pause his sentencing while he appeals his conviction for contempt of Congress. The High Court rejected that case Friday, and he'll serve 4 months in prison. People in New Mexico are being forced to evacuate their homes because of this flash flooding. See this video right here? This is from the village of Ruidoso. Floodwaters are rushing past homes and turning roads into rivers. Emergency crews have rescued dozens of people from the rushing waters, and this is the same area where crews have been battling wildfires too. They say while this is helping stop the wildfires, it's causing a lot of erosion in some of the areas that fire damaged. Protests are underway in the streets of Jerusalem. This is because of a decision ordering the government to draft ultra-Orthodox Jews into the military. Now, that religious group has held strong political advantage, and that's led to draft exemptions for their followers, allowing them to study in religious seminaries instead. Israeli police say that at least 5 people have been arrested, and they're accused of attacking police officers and throwing stones. The Israeli Supreme Court ruled last week that ultra-Orthodox Jews must be drafted. 2 people were killed and 1 person was injured in a shooting in Tarboro. That happened on Branchwood Lane. The Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office says they received a call after about 3 o'clock yesterday morning. Deputies say 2 people were dead when they arrived, and that 3rd person was taken to the hospital, but it's unclear how they're doing this morning. Storms caused a power line to fall down on a street in Goldsboro. You see that right here? It also caught part of it on fire. This video was taken on Buck Swamp Road yesterday. Michael Babb, who took this video, says that it was raining and windy before all this happened, and he came across the down power line. WRAL will interview the new superintendent of Durham Public Schools this morning. The school board voted unanimously to offer Anthony Lewis the job. He spent the last 6 years as superintendent of Lawrence Public Schools in Kansas. He joins DPS after a turbulent school year for the district. This includes months of clashes between the district and classified staff over promised pay increases. The turmoil led to the former district chief financial officer to abruptly resign, and that was followed by the previous permanent superintendent, Pascal Mabenga, resigning. However, Lewis says that he was impressed by both the school system and its search for a new leader.
I certainly appreciate the board's commitment and focus on children and excellence throughout this process. The involvement of the building level staff, district staff, parents, and most importantly, students involved in this process has made me even more sold on Durham Public Schools.
Also happening today, the school board will swear in 2 new members, Joy Harrell and Wendell Tabb. They'll each serve a 4-year term. Durham police are working to identify a man who was found underneath the Eno River. We first reported this as breaking news Saturday night. Officers received a call around 8:30 about a person in the water near the West Point off North Roxborough Street, but no word on how the man died. A plane mechanic strike forced Canada's second largest airline, WestJet, to cancel hundreds of flights. Today is Canada Day, and people who live there had a long weekend. Since Thursday, WestJet has canceled more than 800 flights scheduled to fly through today. After yesterday's delays, the airline has demanded action from the federal government there. Both parties and federal mediators are set to continue talks this morning. With intense heat we're seeing this summer, drinking enough water, that is so critical. Doctors suggest you remember the 8x8 rule. This means 8 8-ounce glasses of water, or 64 ounces each day. But caution, though, you can drink too much water. Yes, that's a thing. The CDC says that a person shouldn't drink more than 48 ounces of water or other fluids in 1 hour. That is because the liquid can dilute the concentration of salts in our blood. U.S. businesses are looking to hire more part-time workers than full-time workers. That's according to a recent analysis from the job site Indeed. It revealed demand for full-time workers was flat from January 2022 to May of this year. And while advertisements for part-time gigs on its site were up about 10% over the same period, the industries most likely to advertise for part-time work were beauty and wellness, personal care and home health, as well as retail and food service. He's got one of the most recognizable voices in Hollywood, and he wants to make sure that you are not fooled by imitation. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
He's in a different world, a different life than he was in before.
Morgan Freeman is raising his famous voice against imitations of that voice. He's posted on social media thanking his fans for alerting him to alleged unauthorized use of AI-generated narration that sounds like him. Freeman follows Scarlett Johansson, who has blasted OpenAI for allegedly mimicking her voice for its AI assistant.
There's so much good stuff. You can have whatever you want. Really? Really.
Isabel DeRoy Olsen and Lily Gladstone play a niece and auntie on the run in Fancy Dance. The teenager and the Oscar nominee bonded filming the often intense drama.
She's just, so genuine, and we just clicked immediately, and it's been 2 years of our lives.
Yeah.
I'm 19 now, and nothing has changed. We're still just as close as we were.
Yeah, she was one of my guests at Cannes when Killers of the Flower Moon premiered.
Mm-hmm.
Isabel was there.
I was there.
Fancy Dance is now streaming on Apple TV+. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Will Smith is back with a brand new single. He debuted You Can Make It live at the BET Awards last night. Listen for yourself.
Out of the madness, out of the maze, and out of the sadness into the rage. The darkest of nights will turn into days, and every storm runs out of rain. Hold on. Your brother Will, if I could testify for me.
Looks pretty good. Awesome production, too. The gospel-infused song features Friday and the Sunday service choir. Paul Maurice had a couple of special shout-outs during the Stanley Cup parade speech. He showed off his pet cats, Poppy and Penny, and his daughter photoshopped them onto the Florida Panthers logo for his T-shirt. I don't know, it's kind of an improvement, right? He said he made a promise to wear it if the Panthers won the Stanley Cup, and it looks like he did, in fact, keep that promise. Good on you, Dad. Before we go to break, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers.